The real estate market's been shifting, and if you have a property to sell, this is the video you need to go through to make sure you have all those boxes checked moving through 2025 and into 2026. I've created this checklist to make sure that no stone is left unturned when selling your property. So let's talk about those keys for sellers, especially as we enter the fall market of 2025. But these are actually important in any market, and I believe they'll continue to amplify as we move forward here in Toronto real estate and beyond. First off, let's talk about your property and how does your property look? Let's think about it from the inside and outside. So we'll talk about two elements here. We're going to talk about one, condos, and two, the freehold market. So semi-detached, detached, or a house, for example. If we are looking at condos, let's think about how does your property look the second someone steps inside to the unit. And when we think about that, the biggest thing for condos is space. So thinking about things like clutter, does it feel tight in the condo? Does it feel open, airy? Is it super clean? All those elements are super important for condos. The building, of course, it's really difficult to control how a building looks, but ultimately the hope is that the lobbies and everything are in really good condition. But that moment someone enters into your condo, having it stand out will be super, super important. And making sure that when buyers do come into your property, they think that it is the best one that they've seen that day. If you do have a home outside of a condo, so a semi-detached, a detached, even a townhouse, you need to think about how does your property look from the curb? Is it well manicured? Is the landscaping all completed? Has the grass been completed? Is it all swept? Is there any flowers or anything like that outside? Is it inviting for that buyer to come up to the property? And one of the things that are important as you're selling a freehold property is things that the buyers are going to see right away. Is the roof in good condition? Are the eaves troughs all set up? Are there any garbage or anything hanging around your property that people are going to see the second they pull up to the door? Then same thing as we talked about with the condos. As that buyer gets through the outside and into your home, how does it feel the second they walk in? Is it nice, clean, and tidy? Are there any smells? Does any cleaning need to happen? Are the floors sticky? Is there stuff all over the ground? Or does it show like a showstopper? If inventory stays at where inventory has been at as of late, you need to stand out amongst all the others and really look sharp when that buyer comes into your property for the first time. The next on the list is how do you compare to the other listings on the market? I can assure you that most buyers are going to see multiple properties before making a decision. They very rarely are they going to go into one property and buy it unless they have that experience to do so. But for most buyers, they're going to see 4, 5, 10 properties at the minimum before they make that decision because there's a ton of choice out there, at least in this moment. Even if there wasn't that much choice, having your property be an absolute showstopper will give you the best chance at the most amount of money when it comes to getting an offer on the table. Making sure you compare really, really well to those other listings. In fact, you want to be the best listing at the ball. You want to have all those elements checked to make sure that those buyers fall in love with your property amongst all the others and that they will pay top dollar for that property in any market. Presentation times 1,000. I would argue this would be actually presentation times 1,000,000. This is where we're amping everything up going forward. And there's really no stone left unturned when it comes to getting a property ready for the market. We're talking paint, any kind of fixtures, handles, any lighting that needs to get replaced, full deep cleaning, top to bottom. The carpets get steam cleaned, the floors get shined up. All the staging is got to be immaculate. And I still recommend having staging in any market because ultimately we want buyers to fall in love with that property. And I can wholeheartedly say that I know staging helps. It helps buyers see a property for all its potential. So having that staging all in check and getting the property ready for photography, for video. Video's got to be also amped up. We're in a day and age where all searches are starting online. The last stat I saw was 99%. I actually argue it's 100%. Everybody is looking online first, making sure your property is everywhere. For example, a full YouTube video walkthrough within the property, chopping it all up into reels for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, not leaving any stone left unturned so buyers can see the property anywhere they turn to. Getting it stand out amongst the sea of other listings is super, super important. So we're going all in on photography, video staging, and then having the website, having all the social media, having paid ads and print ads and feature sheets and all those elements, all important and all things that in a presentation standpoint must happen for those buyers to really fall in love with your property. When it comes to pricing, this is the number one thing is, are you the highest bidder? When it comes to pricing strategy, there's a couple different strategies in any market, of course, but it really is important to base your pricing on a micro market, recent comparable sales only, not just what's on the market, but the actual sales, because those are the sales that are going to get brought up at the negotiating table, especially when working with other agents who are bringing those offers. The first thing they're going to say is, well, that one sold for X. And then how do you compare to that last sold? And knowing what that sold is and how exactly it compares to your listing will be super important. Price is always the most important when it comes to selling your property. And typically for offer dates, a strategy recommended when there's 2 months of inventory or less in your micro pocket. Offers anytime usually depends on the property in those micro markets, but if there's 3 months of inventory or more, that's generally an offers anytime strategy. Open offers, not something we've seen too much of in 25. Now you do have the option as a seller to conduct open offers. It can be kind of eBay style. We do have a platform for that, but it's not something that's super common in 2025. If you are the highest bidder on your own home, and I say that in the sense of you are at a price point where buyers don't feel that the value is there in the current market, it will take a long time to sell, if it even is able to sell at all at that price point. What we're seeing right now in any market is that if it looks amazing, shows amazing, and priced where buyers see the value, it is going to have a really good chance of selling in any market, especially in 2025. And we do have a seller triangle, and this is something that we talk about with buyers, but on the seller side, there is really no concession there on not having all the boxes checked for price, presentation, and property. All the paint, all the fixtures, all the lighting, the cleaning, the staging, photography, video, website, social media, any print marketing. How does it look online versus in person? What are buyers comparing it to? Is it the best of what's available? What school district's it in? All the amenities. If all these boxes are checked on presentation and property, then it comes to price, knowing what the recent comparables are that have actually sold, knowing what else is on the market, and buyers are looking for that best value. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that you need to undercut your listing to sell it. The goal is still to get you the most amount of money possible for your listing. But when there are a record amount of inventory listings on the market, depending on your property type and location, being where buyers feel that there's good value and then negotiating from there once an offer comes in will be a great key to success in 2025. If you're a seller and found some value in this video and wanted to talk about strategy for your property and getting it to market, looking at its best, click on that first link down below, scan the QR code. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.